Hello friends, this is a new session on numerical analysis. In this session, we are going to discuss another important concept of numerical analysis, and it is known as the predictor corrector method. So in the previous sessions, we have discussed about the numerical solution of ordinary differential equations along with an initial condition. Particularly, the differential equation which we considered was a first order differential equation, and with that differential equation we had only one initial condition. So such a combination, we called it as the first order initial value problem, and the solution of first order initial value problem was our objective in the previous sessions. And the formulae which we have discussed in the previous sessions were most interesting. Right from Picard's method of successive approximation, we passed through Taylor series method, Euler's method, Euler's modified method, Runge-Kutta second order method, and Runge-Kutta fourth order method. We have been observing how the solution, that is the approximate value of y, is going towards accuracy. That is how best we can make the solution to be more and more better. That we have seen in the previous lectures, that is in the previous sessions. And we have observed that in each of those methods, only one previous value was required to compute the value of the unknown at the next point. Say for example, if we want to compute the value of y at x1, that is y1, the only thing we required was y at x0, that is y0. You observe from the Picard's formula of successive approximation, the formula was y equals to y naught plus integral of f of x comma y with respect to x. That was the Picard's formula. So first term on the right hand side used to be y naught. So therefore we can say that only one value y naught was necessary in that case to compute the value of y at x1, that is y1. And even if you go to Taylor series method, there also it was f naught requiring, that is we were having the formula which is something which is very similar to Taylor series. So the Taylor series expansion of the function at the point x naught stands for y naught itself. So therefore on the RHS the first term was y naught again, and even in Euler's formula it was y naught. In Runge-Kutta methods, in both of the two methods the RHS was y naught. So it was only one value which was necessary in those cases to compute the value of y at the next point. And therefore these methods were known as the single step methods. So I hope you understood this particular thing as far as the methods we discussed in the previous sessions. So that's what I wanted to tell you. These are called as the single step methods because they were requiring only one value, that is for example yi, that is y naught, is required to compute yi plus 1, that is y1. So therefore those methods are called as the single step method. Now we are moving towards another very important method where more than one value, this is very important, more than one value of the unknown that we require, that is more than one values of the dependent variable are necessary to compute the value of y at the next successive point. So therefore these methods are called as the multi-step methods. You should understand why these methods are multi-step methods. I told you that we are dealing with the predictor corrector methods, and particularly the multi-step predictor corrector methods. So multi-step methods, these are called as the multi-step methods because they are using more than one values of the dependent variable or the unknown for computing the value of the unknown at the next point. Say for example, we want to compute the value of y at x1, that is y1. If at all we want to calculate, we require the previous values y naught, y minus 1, y minus 2, y minus 3. For example, these four values are required to compute the value of y at x1, that is y1. So therefore we can say that multiple number of values are required to compute the value of y at a particular point. Therefore these methods are called as multi-step methods. In the previous multiple steps, we are supposed to know the value of the unknown, then only we can find the value of y at a particular step. Say for example, if we want to compute the value of yi plus 1, that is at the I plus 1th step. This is general, in terms of generality I am speaking. If at all I want to compute the value of y at the point xi plus 1, that is the I plus 1th step. If I want the value of y, then if I require only 4 values, say for example, what are those 4 values? Yi will be the 4, just previous to this yy will be there, and previous to yi minus 1 will be there, previous to that yi minus 2 will be there, and previous to that yi minus 3 will be there. So these 4 values are required to compute the value of yi plus 1. So at the I plus 1th step, if at all I want to compute the value of y, I need the previous multiple values. Yi I need, yi minus 1 I need, yi minus 2 I need, yi minus 3 I need. So for example, if I need the 4 previous values, then that multi-step method is called as the 4th order multi-step method. That is called as the 4th step method, fourth step method, or in general. If I consider a method, multi-step method of order 4, or a k-step method, if I consider, k-step method is one in which in order to compute yi plus 1, that is the value of y at xi plus 1, if I want to calculate, I need the previous k values. And what are the previous values of yi plus 1? They are yi, and previous to that yi minus 1, and previous to that yi minus 2, previous to that yi minus 3, and so on so forth up to yi minus bracket k minus 1. So these many number of values, how many values are here? K number of values, k number of previous values are required. Therefore such a multi-step method is called as the k-step multi-step method. So we are going to consider in our discussion in this particular course 2 multi-step methods, particularly the predictor character methods. The multi-step methods, which are the predictor character methods, and particularly 2 methods we are going to discuss. I will tell you the name of those 2 methods later on, just a few minutes after. Now predictor character method. So what are meant by these predictor character methods? The predictor character methods are nothing but the methods which involve 2 formulae. The first formula is known as the predictor formula. So what it does, it predicts the value. It predicts the value of the unknown. So if you look at this particular first formula, it determines the approximate value of y. That is nothing but it predicts the value. It gives the first initial approximation to the unknown y at a particular point. So such a formula is called as the predictor formula. The first formula which gives us the initial approximation to the unknown, because having the initial values, in this case y naught, that is y at x naught, that will be the initial condition given if at all we want to compute y1. This will be the first initial condition. Along with this, we should know few more values. What are those? Y minus 1 we are supposed to know, v minus 2 we are supposed to know, and yi minus 3 we are supposed to know. So basically we should understand this is the leftmost value. This will be given as the initial condition. This will be given as the initial condition. We must compute this using some of the known methods. We must compute this again by using some of the known methods, and this as well. You don't please get confused here. This y naught will not be the initial approximation. This leftmost value, that will be the initial condition. That will be the value that we obtain from the initial condition. So after the initial condition is being used, we can move on to compute these three extra values. So totally now there are four values, and those four values are to be used to compute y1, that is y at x1, the next point of this x naught. This stands for x naught, the value of y at x naught. So the value of y at x1, that is y1, can be computed using these four values. Now the value of y1, in order to compute, we are having now two formulae. One is the predictor formula and another one is the corrector formula. Predictor formula is the basic formula which gives us the basic initial approximation to the desired unknown. That is, y1 is the desired unknown, y at x1. To this, some basic initial approximation is required, that will be obtained from predictor formula. Predictor formula is not an iterative formula, that we have to keep in mind. It is a direct formula. Only once it gives us the answer, that's all. It will not be used for repeated improvement of that value. Only that it gives us the single value, that is the first initial approximation. Now after applying the predictor formula, we are now supposed to apply the another formula, that is the second formula, known as the corrector formula. The corrector formula, what it does, it will improve the value of the unknown y1 here. In particular, if I consider y1 as the unknown, y at x1, it improves the value of that unknown repeatedly. First, in the first step, it uses the value which is obtained from the predictor formula. It gives us first improvement, that is the first correction to y1, that will be denoted by y11. Now after completing the first step, that is the first improvement, that is the first correction, we have to move on to the second improvement, that is the second correction. In the second correction, we will use this previously corrected value. We will use y11 to compute y12, that is the second correction to y1 we are going to compute with the help of y11. Now we have to forget about the predicted value that has gone, because now we have previously iterated value. This value, we substitute this in this formula to get this new value. Once we have this value, we can compute y13. We can compute the third corrected value y13 using this particular y12. That is the previously iterated value, previously improved value y12. That will be used to compute y13, that is the next better approximation of y1. So in this way, we can say that the corrector formula which we are using, that is an iterative type of formula, and it gives us the successive corrections to the values of the unknown. And this iteration process, it must come to an end. That is very, very important. So when should we stop the iteration process? The iteration process should be stopped when we get two consecutive improved values, or the two consecutive corrected values same up to the desired number of decimal places. Then we can stop and we can consider the final answer as the required solution of the given initial value problem. So I hope you understood all these things as far as the multi-step methods are concerned and the predictor corrector methods are concerned. Now in this chapter, we are going to discuss two very important methods of predictor and corrector type, and they are Adams-Bashforth predictor corrector method and Milon's-Simpson predictor corrector method. These are very convenient and very easy methods which we shall discuss in the forthcoming sessions. So with this, let me conclude. I request you people to look at the further explanation regarding this topic. If you want, you can have the reference of this book. So with this, let me stop. Thank you one and all.